Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Eleanor and happy publication day to The Sword of Light by Logan. This is going to be my spoiler-free review of this book, the third book in the Four Treasures series, and I'm just so incredibly excited to be doing this video for you and releasing it on publication day. And I want to say a big thank you to the publisher, Books, that sent me this copy early to do a review for it. So I'm so incredibly fortunate for that. This is the first book I've ever received from a publisher, and that's just so much fun. As I said, this is a third book in a series, the first books being The Stone of Destiny and The Cauldron of Life. So although there won't be spoilers for this third book, there may be inadvertent spoilers for the first two books in the series. So be warned, but overall I'll just start off with a summary of the series as a whole. In this series you're following Alyssa, who is a changeling, and she is discovering her origins and her gift and her ability, and she meets these two Selkies and they go on an adventure. In this first book they're looking for the Stone of Destiny. They meet lots of other fae and creatures and other humans and other magical creatures along the way, and lots of adventures ensue. There's an evil fairy queen in this series. There's lots of different mythical and magical creatures based on Scottish folklore and legends, and they all come together to create this wonderful Scottish-esque fantasy world. What I love so much about this series is that Logan, the author, is Scottish herself, and she's taken great pains to write this so authentically. As a Scottish person, I can read this, and this feels like a hidden area of Scotland that has yet to be discovered. And the language and the way these characters interact, along with the different mythical creatures, just feels so authentically Scottish to me, and I'm loving the care she's taken to writing all these things as they are. And it's wonderful to hear it from a true Scottish person, because so many people from different countries around the world write about Selkies and such, but it's nice to see it through an actual Scottish lens. Another thing that I love so much about this series is the characters. They are so rich and deeply written, and their interpersonal relationships and connections are beautifully written. All these characters are not two-dimensional. They're very real, very alive and very vibrant characters, and they all have different backstories and origins, and they connect and communicate together so well. And yes, there is problems. Yes, there is strife, because it's a very daring adventure they're on in these books, but they're made stronger for it, and I just love the relationships. So if that hasn't encouraged you to pick up this series in the beginning anyway, I don't know what will. So I'm going to go on to discuss some spoiler-free things about this third book. So if you haven't read the first two, this would be your time to bow out now. But as of today, watching this video, the book is available in lots of places. You can buy directly from the publisher, Books. You can buy it from Waterstones, Amazon, and Blackwell's, I believe, and they're all available today. And I'll also quickly mention, and I'll see if I can leave a link below as well, on the 9th, this Saturday night, there is a publication launch party that Caroline Logan and fellow book blogger Mad Cheshire Rabbit, Caitlin, are doing a book launch discussion, and it's free to attend, but you need to sign up prior to that. So I'll leave that link below if you're interested in going to the launch party. It's virtual, I should mention that as well. Now on to spoiler things about the first two books, but not spoiler for this third book. I love getting to know more about Cameron, Alyssa's brother. I love his backstory and his origin and his relationship with Angus. I just love their growing connection and yeah, how they're tiptoeing about each other. I just think that's very sweet and endearing, and a bit frustrating as well at sometimes. I also love there's other characters you meet here, because they're now wearing the third part of another grand adventure, because at the start of this book you find out very interesting news, and that kind of starts off the plot of this book. Can't obviously share what that is. There's something strange happening in the world, and they need to kind of collect certain things and certain people to band together to defeat like an ultimate evil. And these new characters that you meet are so fantastic as well. Their backstories, how everyone is interconnected. It's just so well written and developed, and I love it so much. I will say again that my favourite character is Malik, and I'm so excited to see him in this book again, and just seeing him and Alyssa interact. I love it so much, and I cherish him as a character. And yeah, I just love his whole character and all that so much. In this book, Alyssa also goes on to discover more about her powers and abilities. She's growing and maturing as a young person. Her magic is becoming stronger and she's learning more about herself, and that's just a continued development from the first two books, and it's just a great time. So I don't know if I want to say much more because this is a spoiler-free video, and I'm sure you can tell from the way I've been talking about this series in this video that I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I dithered about reading the first part of the book just because I've been unwell and I've not been in a great reading mood, and I was knuckling down and I read the last like 250 pages in one day just to get it finished, and I loved it. I loved reading it in one sitting like that in one day. Like when you're getting to near the end of a book, and especially when it's like an adventure fantasy like this, you're ramping up to the end and it's just so fast paced, and I love it so much. I love that also in every book you're meeting and learning more about lots of different fairy tale creatures and folklore from Scottish history as well. I'm loving all the little details that just make this such a rich and vibrant fantasy world. And I just think Caroline Logan is a fantastic writer with all of that, and it is a breath of fresh air in the young adult fantasy genre. Also, lastly, I want to say how absolutely stunning these book covers are. Unless you read the series and go through, you don't really understand the relevance of the images, but the design of them is beautiful, and I think they sit together as a set wonderfully. The only little bit of sad news is that the fourth and final book in this series is not out until October 2022, and I'm having to prepare myself for a very long wait for that book. I was saying to Abby of Pelennor that closer to the time of that release, it'll just encourage us to do a reread of these first three books, and we're not mad about that, so watch this space if you're interested in that next year. Again, I just want to highly encourage you to pick up this series, and I want to again say a big thank you to Cranachan Publishing, the author, Caroline Logan, for sending me an early copy of The Sword of Light. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Just interjecting here because I forgot to say when I was discussing The Sword of Life, in the acknowledgements at the back there is a lovely little mention about myself and a couple of the other book bloggers here on the internet who have been talking about this series, and I just want to say a big thank you to Caroline for that mention. It's lovely, and yeah, I was just very excited to see that, and yeah, I think that's a really nice thing to be mentioned like that in a book. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if you've read this series, if you've started reading it, if this has encouraged you to pick up this series. I very much promise you, you will not be disappointed. The plot and the premise and the characters and the world are so rich and vibrant, and I think you'll have a fantastic time. So please let me know in the comments below, and I'd love to have a discussion with you in the comments about what you think of this. Also, if you have read this series, who is your favourite character? Mine is certainly Malik, and if you've read this series, you'll probably know why. But let me know who your favourite character is. So thank you for watching. Please be sure to subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.